Bonjour. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let's grow together your export business. Are you looking to bring your brand from a dream to reality? Are you looking for buyers and consumers from all over the world to buy and wear your collection? Do you sometimes feel frustrated with the challenges you face and you don't know how to fix them? Where to get the right and true information and process to do a better job? Then you're at the right place to grow your brand from domestic to international through the understanding and the implementation of the 6Ps. And we're only going to be an email or phone call away to bring you more success, whether face-to-face or online. So you're never going to be alone anymore. And watching this video, we hope you'll see us as the way our other clients sees us, which is as a trusted advisor. My name is Thierry Bell. I'm the founder of Global Fashion Management and the London Fashion Business Academy. We focus in the business of fashion, so you don't have to. We'll share over 25 years international experience across all the players and stakeholders in the fashion industry, as well as all the functions within the business. And we'll share that experience from international designer brands like Calvin Klein, Kenzo, Moschino, Mona Lisa, Paris, Smalto, Sergio Rossi, Versace, as well as many SMEs and young designers. And we work with those SME and young designers every month. Every season, we see the same mistakes. Yet we don't often hear those mistakes in the press or in fashion debates or in forums. One day, a client told me, "I've learned more in one day with you than in 5 years." And that got us thinking, because they were also looking for a cost-effective way to access this valuable business insight. And that's how the London Fashion Business Academy was born. And as we are in this digital world and it's getting bigger and bigger, it's obvious that the way we can make this information easily accessible was online. So thanks to you, we've launched the LFBA. So it's an online fashion platform, online courses that will not break the bank, delivered with honesty and transparency, and free email exchanges. Now, why is export so important? Well, the world is becoming smaller every month due to the digital world. And the opportunity for us to travel globally and show our collection in Singapore, Tokyo, Paris, Los Angeles is really easy. Now is the time because there's a lot of competition and you need to stand out. We work with retailers every week. They have a fear not to lose out. Not having the brand that will allow them to stand out and to bring them more customers in the store, but also get their staff excited is a priority. So they need newness at all times. Of course, you could say that they could buy a local brand. Yes, that's true, and they do. However, they will often just bring another resource that looks like the one they already have in store. And the distribution of that new brand is going to be the same. Therefore, it's always going to be harder for them to stand out as a boutique. So your brand coming from abroad is a real lifesaver. So not only export is important, it's important now. And you've got this opportunity to make it big for you. And don't forget, with Brexit, UK brands have the same focus as you do. We've got to go global. And today clients have told us fashion is much more complex and unpredictable than ever before. And therefore, you want to make sure that you have the resources internally and externally to help you transform any complex situation into a simple one. And clients agree with my proposition. Just bring the right two people in a room and every problem will become an opportunity. Let me tell you a little story. As I was with a client at the Magic Show in Las Vegas, showing a women's wear collection, we picked up 32 orders. 4 didn't go through, 1 was canceled, and 3 others had a payment issue. But how long did it take us to prepare the show? Well, in excess of 4 months. And yes, I do recommend that if you want to have a great trade show and great results, you need to put 4 to 6 month preparation. You need to build a database. You need to connect with the buyers. You need to take appointments. You need to follow them up. You need to call them before the show. And even during the show to make sure, thanks to the mobile, you're able to do that. There's also some key things you need to understand before you make an investment, before you go to a trade show or pick up an agent. In the US, for example, a killer question is, where do you ship from? We had a drill, but guess what? The business owner said, oh, I'm shipping from the UK. All the time the buyer had spent in the booth, selecting pieces, showing interest, vanished straight away. She turned around and left. Don't worry, the client didn't do the mistake twice. Remember, building a brand is like building a house. You need strong foundations. You need an architect. You need a blueprint. Contractors with skills in electricity, plumbing, and so on. Same thing with a fashion brand. You need sales, marketing, management, production. The great thing about export is your team's going to learn new skills, a new way of thinking and working because of those new cultures. And stay with us till the end, because I'm going to offer you some support and free resources, because we want you to stand out. And thanks to the work that we do with brands and retailers every week, we're going to show you those two perspectives, and it's going to be a powerful tool for you to understand what's going to make a buyer tick. And those clients have given us the 2 thumbs up, because we're going to be sharing videos, webinars, wholesale, retail resources in the link we'll give you at the end. So the time is right. You must act today, because the buyers need you today. But now let's see what it's going to take for you to succeed. The first P is picture. What do I mean? Well, it's about making sure that you want to picture who your customer is. And when you're going to do that exercise, I'm going to have to make it simple today, but I would always recommend you go through our online course about the fashion mapping. It's about you understanding and picturing who your customer is. And it's not just a very broad definition that the lady's going to be 35 to 50 and that, she is going to be edgy and she's going to be looking to be empowered. You're going to have to be much more precise and understand, where you're going to find her. What are the things that she's going to buy, from fashion to cars, or the things she's going to read? Because otherwise, it's going to be very hard for you or for somebody joining you in the journey to do a great marketing. Now, picture for me is also going to be about understanding your vision and values, because today you need to really sell to the clients, consumer or trade, why you do things. So make sure you build it up successfully. And, you need also a strong business plan and the financials to go with it. And make sure that those are validated by an expert who's going to look at them, read them, digest them, and make corrections. And if somebody is telling you that everything is right, then that's not the right partner. Choose somebody else. You want those people, if they watch your back, to give you points they love about it and at least 1 or 2 improvement things you need to change so you can get better with time. Let me tell you a quick story, because it's also about measurable goals. And what I mean by that is you need to associate numbers to some of the tasks you're going to take. Remember, if you can't measure it, you can't fix it. I mean, the client was going to the PT, which is a men's trade show in Italy. And I've asked him, how many orders are you planning to take? And the client answered, well, I don't know, it's my first time. Well, the fact that it's your first time doesn't mean that you shouldn't know and you shouldn't be targeting anything, because it's like you going to the airport not knowing where you're willing to go. If you don't know where you want to go, you're not going to reach the destination. And I'm sure you're going to agree with me. If you just want to take 5 orders, you might just need 50 people in your database. You may only need maybe 10 or 15 appointments to get 5 orders. But if you tell me you want 50 orders, then you can't just have 50 people in your database. You may need 200, 500 people in your database. So you will understand that you're not going to be spending the same amount of time, the same amount of people and resources, financial resources, whether you want to get 2 orders, 10 orders, or 100 orders. Because the more you want, the more the need for a process, for a rigorous discipline and process to get there. And this is what is missing in many tasks that we are taking in fashion businesses. So make sure you look into it extremely carefully. I can tell you another story, going to a trade show and the brand had only 30 business cards with them. By the way, a few of your colleagues go to a trade show, no business cards. Sorry, we forgot. Sorry, the business cards arrived late. Well, why didn't you plan the order with a printer sooner? Okay, the people came with 30 business cards for the show to last 3 days. I would recommend you bring at least 50 business cards per day and include that the setup day is also a day. And if you're staying another day after that, it's going to be another 50 business cards. And remember, how can you improve the ability to sell more? Well, where you're going to meet somebody, why don't you give them 2 cards? One card that the person is going to keep and one card that this contact is going to give away to a referral, to a potential client of yours. And remember, if you don't have a business plan, if you don't have a clear objective, measurable goals from a trade show, for example, what can happen is this little story with a lady who invested twice in a trade show, and you know that a trade show is going to cost you $5,000 to $7,000 euro or pound. And after 2 shows and not picking up a single order, she just had to close the brand just because she didn't have a plan. So your action today is really to back up your action plan with number, especially over the next 6 to 12 months. And when your staff do not deliver the indicators, the numbers, you've got to make them ask themselves why and that they take corrective actions. Second P, it's about products. Well, what is it all about? I know you've got a great design. I know that your collection is going to impress your audience. But the product must be designed to appeal to a specific audience that you have clearly identified. And make sure that you also bring in your collection potentially some trends to make sure that the product is more commercial and the selling more easy. I mean, one story that I wanted to share with you is that you may know that in the UK we have been and we are still very strong in evening wear, occasion wear, cocktail dresses. And we have been looking to sell in Spain. But when I started 25 years ago, it wasn't easy. Why? Because we tried to impose pastel colors in Spain. But what do Spanish want? Well, they want flashy, bright colors, vibrant orange, red, sunny yellows. And when the UK brands were willing to make that change between a pastel color and a bright, flashy color, they've managed to pick up more sales. But the same applies, and I'm sure you know it, between the East Coast and the West Coast in the US. The East Coast is going to be much more traditional, the West Coast is going to be much more contemporary. But the same issues happen, with colors, much brighter in the south of the US than in the north. So make sure you pay attention to that. So make sure that it's about having the right product for the right people, and think about product segmentation, because your dresses, your tops, your outerwear, your jewelry, all those are different product categories, and you want to know the trend and the strength of each and every one of them. Which brings me to another point, which is you have always more than just one customer. So segment your customer base as well, because the further you'll understand, the more you will have an accurate marketing and product to fit that segment. So if you have any difficulty in identifying that, once again, the fashion mapping will help you tremendously. This training module is extremely helpful for that. Now, I remember that we had a case study with Asia Pacific women's wear brand who was doing in excess of $2 million in the US with sales reps at a distance. So great performance, except that they were reaching a plateau and didn't understand why the business was not able to grow. And so when we started looking into the business, we've realized that they were not looking deeply enough in the product categories, and actually they were not providing the designs and the products to fit the demand. As soon as that was done, then we were able to bring the business to in excess of 4 million. So you want to make sure that you understand the product segmentation and the customer segmentation. That will help you tremendously. So, as an action point, make sure you understand the product categories, those which are trending, and put more emphasis in those. And this will keep you going profitably ongoing. And of course, make sure that you have the right margin for your customers. Now, what would be the next P? It's about people. What do we mean by people? Well, what I would like to start first is to say that, first of all, your business and our business is the same. Because ultimately, we both have to identify a prospect, make him become a client, and make that client come back. We have the same business. And so we need to train our people, to be able to buy and sell. And whether it's a buying and selling exercise per se, but that buying and selling concept is still applicable to all the people inside the business, because production needs to talk and sell to sales or marketing or to the manufacturer. The second thing about people that I want to emphasize is making sure you outsource the things which are not your core business or of interest of yours. And there's nothing wrong with that. Identify your strengths and weaknesses and let go to somebody else some of the tasks that you don't need to do. And of course, as you grow and you grow at export, make sure you embrace the local people for the local experience. The fact that you have a local sales force, for example, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be understanding the market and understanding how they're going to work to produce the results. Those are two totally separate things. And one big mistake, by the way, is considering your agent to be a country manager. No, the agent is a sales agent. He's here to sell. Nothing else. And that's a big difference between the US and Europe. And feel free to come back to us if you want to know more in relation to that. So when it comes to people, you also want to make sure that you understand that as you grow, new challenges will appear. Because when you grow from 5 to 25 people or from 25 to 100 people, those situations are not going to be situations that you're used to deal with in the smaller organization. And unless there is this opportunity for more training, for somebody who's going to advise you, coach you, mentor you, act as a sounding board, it's going to be very hard for the team to move forward. So when you need to scale up, you need to understand that you need to bring more training and also more processes. Now, make sure that with your people, you involve your staff in decision making, and make sure that you bring that critical thinking at all times to be able to move the business forward much more proactively. When I was acting as brand and retail expert at Paris, Who's Next, I see 150 people. And one workshop that I love delivering is the one between the partnership between brands and retailers. And on the last session, the retailers said to the brands, I'm going to be selling 50, 60, 70, 80% of your goods at full price or close to full price. But how will the brand, you, help me with the balance of those stock? Because potentially I could lose all my profits on those. And that's a critical question, and I'll be addressing it again at the next trade show at Who's Next. I want you to make sure that not only you have heard about things like swaps and returns and other ideas to support the retailer, but you also apply them to your business. And I want you to look at any solution, whether consignment or others, with a positive angle. Because with the right implementation, they will produce a positive outcome for you. So one thing I would like to emphasize as an action bullet point for you is to have a clear job description with measurable goals for your staff. When it comes to an outsider, I want you to have a clear brief with measurable goals for that service provider, whether it's going to be a trade show, an agent, a web developer, whoever. And I can tell you, you will seriously increase the odds of success by well over 50%. Did you know that many people have no brief when they invest money on a project or with people? The next P is about promotion. What's behind promotion? All the activities around sales and marketing. And we said it, we've got the same business. And we said it previously as well, we have more than one customer and more than one product to sell. You are working in fashion. So you're not just selling a product, you're selling a brand. So you've got to focus and really work hard on branding. This is absolutely key. So make sure you analyze how you can build the brand. And that means, having that right message to the right person at the right time with the right tool and the right process. Now, what you want to make sure as well is understanding that to build the business, you'll need to think about traffic and conversion. You might focus on one, or you might focus on the two of them. But make sure that you build more traffic or that you improve the conversion rate at all times. Make sure you create a unique experience, a wow shopping experience. And that shopping experience, of course, it is for the consumer within a store or your online business. But the same applies to the buyer, the trade buyer. I have many clients who are using goodie bags at trade shows, and it works beautifully. It doesn't work on every occasion with every buyer, but it's key. Wanted to re-emphasize the importance of product and customer segmentation. Because, for example, at wholesale level, you could have two big categories of people, an independent boutique and a department store. Would you tell me that you would present exactly the same file, have the same approach, use the same words, whether you deal with a department store or the independent boutique? Hopefully you will tell me no. One, as you know, is much more corporate. They're going to be looking into margins, focusing on numbers, sales per square meter. The other one is much more open to risk, taking you on board from the first season they see you. That's real. So make sure here again that you also focus within your sales and marketing on networking and partnership that we mentioned in the previous people, because together you're going to get more. So make sure you work those extremely cleverly, because it's your opportunity to move forward. And of course, all those tools that you have at your disposal, from advertising, PR, email, and of course the strength and the power of images and videos, social media, website, blogs, make sure that whether you do it internally or externally, you have set up some clear goals, measurable goals. And the fact that you don't know how to handle social media because it's not your thing should not prevent you from asking just basic questions to make sure the person is doing the right thing, providing you with the right results. That is absolutely key, because some designers are asking no questions and then they wonder why it's not producing the effect, especially with social media. And I don't know whether you know it or not, but some brands go to a trade show and decide to offer retailers in Europe from a wholesale price point ex VAT to a retail price point including VAT, a markup of 2.1. And they don't pick any order. Well, because the markup for that retailer is wrong. So somewhere, somehow, that brand got the wrong information. You know why? Sometimes it's very sad to hear that that brand basically interviewed just one brand, got the wrong information, and thought that was the rule in fashion. It can take me just 5 minutes and counting to explain you what it is. It might take me half an hour if I want to explain all the different contexts, because the margin, the markup for the retailer in the US and the one in Europe are different, but you need to know that. So once again, for me, how do I convey that very quickly is create an online training module, and the people can be getting that for 50 or less, but a mistake at a trade show will cost you 5,000. So make sure that you have that sounding board, and those people are going to give you genuine, honest information to help you grow your brand securely, long term. And feel free, of course, to visit the GFM website and blog, where you have a lot of free resources. So when it comes to the action point, build a sales funnel to identify and convert clients over time. And never take no as a definite answer, because if the buyer is right for the brand, he will buy, and the no just applies for today. Now, what is the next P? The next P is about process. You know now that building a brand is about people, products, and processes. And by process, I mean that, you need to be able to bring that element of consistency. And it's about, knowledge management. It's about project management. The challenge I think we're all going to have in that process selection is going to be knowing which process to work on. And that's where I want you to remember the Pareto law, which says that 20% of your efforts will do 80% of your results. So it's a little bit like saying 20% of your product categories will do 80% of your sales, or 20% of your customers will do 80% of your sales. It may not be 20-80 per se, sometimes it's going to be 30-70, but that small portion of your efforts is going to do 80%, or the big chunk of your result is correct and really applies. So remember that and focus on the top 20%. And this is really, really important. And I just wanted to also let you know that this process can be about, of course, recruitment, handling customer complaint, but it's also about identifying opportunities and challenges in the business. I work with the clients a 10-step process to go through a problem in the business. I will spend 4 hours so that I can go through the right process and content to make sure that your trade show investment is successful. Because that's what it's going to take to do a very good, thorough, quality work. And there's no shortcut. And so feel free, to also ask us about our #1 process to avoid mistakes and get more success from any project you're going to have. And therefore, what I'm always surprised is that I've got some case studies where the client is telling me when recruiting an agent that I hope it's going to work. If you hope it's going to work, then most probably it means you haven't built a strategy, you haven't shared it with the agent, you haven't asked the agent how he's going to do his job or her job, and the way they're going to bring results. So the only way you're going to fix that is because you have set up a list of questions, a process, and we have a common goal between you and the agent. And going to a trade show in the US, for example, is going to be about making sure that you change a lot of things. Our clients are sometimes overwhelmed. Why? Because you need to look at the contract, you need to look at the lookbook, the line sheet, credit management, logistics, and all those are changes you need to make to be successful. And I like very much also that as you're going to be building up, better and stronger project management and working on opportunities and challenges in the business, you remember this entrepreneur leader, Peter Drucker, who said the first rule in decision making is that one does not make a decision unless there is a disagreement. Because the fact that there is disagreement means we're going to bring up new solutions for you to move forward. So once again, as an action plan, make sure that if you have a problem happens in your business, review it. And if it's part of the 2080, please draft a process, finalize it, implement it, and improve it as time goes by. Remember, to scale up the business and be successful, you need more training and processes. Another P, Well, and the last P, patience. We said it, building the brand is like building the house. It takes time. You need to know the golden rules to follow. You need to understand the mistakes made by the competition before you. And if you know those, you will drastically, of course, decrease how long it takes to build it successfully. There's often a hearsay, which I don't like, which it takes 3 shows to get the buyer to consider you. But that's not true. I have many case studies proving the contrary. Of course, the department store could be a little bit more reluctant because they're thinking about money. But an independent boutique really is open to take you from the first season. So, but of course, having a hearsay that it takes 3 seasons is great for some service providers because it means you're happy to pay for 3 seasons before you see any kind of results. So please, it may happen that something can take 3 seasons, but that's not the norm. So you need to make sure that you have a list of questions and you know how people are going to work every month, every season to get to the objective you have both agreed. Focus on execution. As I say, ideas are great, but they're only as powerful and effective as your ability to deliver the plan. The better the implementation, the more sales you will make. So the action is, with clients, we do never give a solution. We make sure we provide a solution alongside the logic and a process so that when your context changes, you know how to fix the problem, grab the opportunity on your own. So do the same. Ask people to give you part of their IP around the execution plan. I wanted to share something, a little bonus, the 7th P, because we went through picture, people, products, promotion, process, and patient. The last P is let's get the profits. And it's true. How do we get the profit? Well, we need that strong foundation, knowledge, expertise. We need that strong process that will also deliver strong consistency. And the one thing you also need is to make sure that you have that continuous improvement state of mind. Because otherwise, it may not work. Remember, building a brand, and Tom Ford, I think, stated it very nicely, decide for you if fashion is an art or an artistic business. I mean, do you want to build a hobby or an artistic business and make money out of it? I mean, recently I had a case study where the brand was offering a women's and menswear collection, but the menswear was only really just 2 shirts. So it was hard for the designer to understand that that was not so great as a new brand trying to be selected by a trade show. Luckily, I was able to assist, call the trade show, and the comments that were given back by the trade show organizer is that this approach of having women's wear plus just 2 shirts in menswear was just diluting the brand. It made it unclear for the buyer to know who you were. And of course, as a new brand, the trade show preferred not to have them on board this season. So make sure you have somebody who's going to be bringing this critical thinking and forcing you to revisit the way you're going to work. And today, my personal, business quote is a successful brand is no longer about what you know, it's about what you don't know. Remember, the only constant is change, and the rate of change is accelerating exponentially. Today, we have more things we don't know than things we know. It was really interesting. Lately, I was just a keynote speaker in an event in Istanbul. And another speaker said that we all need to have a learning strategy. I might use a different word, but I totally agree. What is your learning strategy today in your business? Especially as you grow, your staff need more training. When I deliver my 4-hour USA workshop, I have clients who have 15 years wholesale experience in Europe. And some even have a mentor. And yet, after 4 hours, they say there's too much. And what they mean is that the US approach and the US market means they have to basically start changing many things. If they want success from the first trade show, they need to review their lookbook, They need to edit the collection. They need to revise the sales pitch when talking to the buyer. Also, they need to see how effective and timely it's going to have to be delivered. Otherwise, it's not going to produce the results they want. They will need to review the order form, making it American. They're going to have to change the terms and conditions to protect themselves, especially in case of litigation. So there's a lot to modify and upgrade. But that's okay, because we're here to help you. So if you want some free resources, we've got that link that we encourage you to visit. There's access to many tools. You just need to tick the ones you want. There's papers, white papers, videos, webinars, retail, wholesale. So you need to just select the one you want. Now, to set up, build, grow a global brand and deliver the 7th P that we mentioned, profits, you need to follow strictly the 6 P. Picture, people, products, promotion, process, patient. Make sure you have a plan and measurable goals to ensure you remain on track. Make sure you take corrective actions regularly, monthly. And, if there's a topic that you or your team does not know, do not have the answer, just reach out. I mean, we have one-to-one time for you. And if the budget is really small, we have a training module, whether it's visible or not on the London Fashion Business Academy. And don't forget, we create content based on your needs. We just need 15 days max to turn around the content. We've done it in 5 days, of course. And if you need a gift certificate to try the Academy, just ask. We'll be happy to help. Why do we do what we do in the business of fashion? Well, because we want you to know where are the red flags and the green flags. Often you see a green flag and we see a red flag, and the reverse being true as well. We want to stop the same mistakes we see every season happening in the industry, which means you are losing thousands of pounds, dollars, and euros. Today is the brand sees us as a trusted advisor. And we also do it with the values of honesty and transparency, always delivering the logic and the process alongside the solution we recommend. Because we want to make sure that if the context changes, you know how to adapt the solution on your own. And that's why we're always happy to extend a satisfaction guarantee on some or many of our work. And generally, that applies certainly at any first meeting. So just call us, we'll prove it to you. So remember, buyers need new brands. So you are in need in the marketplace. Retailers can easily bring 5 to 20% new brands every season. Be one of them. And remember, when I was talking about the brand retailer partnership, a Singaporean designer at Paris Fashion Week concluded by saying, Thierry, it's like courting. And it's right. It's like a love relationship. So it needs to be nurtured over time. So first, think about the right things of how to strengthen the relationship, and they will buy. Once again, they can buy from the first season. And please, make sure you never stop if it's just one phone call or one email. They need that ongoing relationship with you. Good luck. Connect anytime. Looking forward to seeing you very soon. Bye-bye.